Peace, ladies. Welcome back to the Modern Goddess channel. So quick scenario for you. I want you to imagine this, if you will. Imagine being in your relationship and everything is just going so well. You feel secure. You feel safe. You feel confident in your relationship. You're getting the affection and the love and the reassurance that you need. And so in return, you're in your feminine. You're being cooperative. Your man feels respected. He feels appreciated and needed. You know, he feels in his masculine. And everything is just going so well, right? And then all of a sudden, you all have a disagreement. You start to feel misunderstood. You start to feel a little attacked, and then you become triggered. And then all that femininity just goes right out the window, and you start fussing and cussing and hooping and hollering and all that other stuff. And now your man is like, see, that's why I don't like talking to you. That's why I don't ever like to talk to you, because you don't know how to talk to me. You don't respect me. You're too masculine. Right? Now, that is something that is actually very common. A lot of ladies are actually in their feminine usually when things are going well. However, when there is a disagreement or whenever there's some type of conflict and they become triggered, then they tap into that masculine, and that's when they become belligerent and disrespectful and just overly masculine, okay? And so that is what this video is about, because that is not something that we want to just accept as something that is normal. It is very possible to get your point across. It's very possible to be heard. It's very possible to resolve conflict without getting out of your feminine, okay? Now, the first thing, ladies, and this is probably the most important, is that you need to identify what your triggers are, okay? Now, you can do this in therapy. You can contact some type of professional. If you have a friend that can help you, that will listen, if you need to journal, whatever it is you need to do, but you really need to be able to identify what your triggers are. The reason why this is so important is because when someone says something that triggers you, that has a lot more to do with you than it has to do with them, right? And the reason for that is if someone says something that is completely absurd, if it makes no sense at all, you're not going to get mad. You're going to laugh at them. You're going to be like, you're crazy. You don't make any sense. Like, you're just insane. Like, you're just going to laugh it off, right? Or if someone says something that just doesn't apply to you at all, like it has nothing to do with you at all, it's not going to trigger you. You're just like, okay, well, you know, that's kind of messed up, but that don't got nothing to do with me. You know, like, if it don't apply, let it fly, right? The times when something triggers you is when it has some type of validity to it, okay? If it is an area in which you have not yet healed from, that is when it is going to trigger you. Now, when something triggers you, you can respond to that in one of two ways. You can either A, take the fight or flight response, and when you take the fight response, that is when you start to cussing and fussing and arguing, being combative and argumentative and doing all of this, and you know, that is the fight response. And the flight response is when you just shut down. You're just like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. You try to avoid communication. You try to pretend like you don't have any feelings, like it's just not bothering you. And none of that is feminine. All right. So you can either take the fight or flight response, or you can accept that, yeah, there is some truth to what this person is saying. There is some validity to this. Now, if you accept this, you can either respond to that one or two ways. You can either say, yes, there's some truth to this, and there is something I can do to change it, so it's no need for me to get mad because I can change it. Or, yes, there's some truth to this, but there isn't anything I can do to change it, so it's no need for me to get mad because there's nothing I can do to change it. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone that is purposely trying to upset you, like meaning like they are attacking you on purpose, they want to trigger you, you're probably in a relationship with a narcissist, and I just don't suggest anybody move forward with those type of relationships. However, I would say ignore that type of energy. Don't even feed into it, because once you do that, that is what becomes the normalized form of communication in your relationship. That is how people become addicted and attached to the drama and the toxicity in relationship, is when they feed into that, okay? So if you ignore it, you won't let it become what is normal for you. If you ignore it, you also give them a chance to think about what they're doing, because if they're doing that, that's on them. Okay, but if it triggers you, that's on you. So that is the first step, identifying what your triggers are, because once you get into that type of mentality where you realize, okay, either A, I can do something about this, so it's no need for me to be upset, or B, I can't do anything about this, so it's no need for me to be upset, then you won't be in your masculine. You won't feel the need to take a fight or flight response. It's just, you won't be easily upset, okay? So again, if you're being easily triggered and you're quick to anger, that is on you. That is not on the other person. Okay, so that is something that you need to work on, identifying those triggers and healing from them. Okay, step 2 is going to be just as important. You need to communicate with your man that this is something that you're even trying to do. If you communicate with your man that you are at least putting forth an effort to try to be more in your feminine in order to improve your communication, to improve your relationship, to take a lot of stress off of the two of you, he will more than likely be very appreciative of that, and he would be more willing to at least help in some way. Okay, and the reason why I say this is because there are absolutely things that a man can do to help you stay in your feminine during conflict or during disagreements. One of the things that a man can do to help you stay in your feminine during argument or disagreement is by calling you whatever cute little nickname or pet name that he has for you. Because oftentimes when a man, especially if he's a masculine man, if he gets upset, he's like, oh man, going somewhere, man, bro, whatever. He might call you a MFer. He could call you whatever, depending on the type of relationship y'all have, depending on how y'all talk to each other. He's gonna call you everything except for baby, sweetie, honey, queen, whatever. And so if you're having a disagreement, if you're already feeling misunderstood, if you're already feeling attacked, and now he's calling you man, bruh, MFer, instead of calling you the sweet names that you're used to being called, it just makes you feel like y'all are enemies. It just makes you feel like he just doesn't care about you in that moment. And that could be completely false, but that is how you tend to feel when that is the energy you're getting from him. So if you can communicate with him that this is something that would help, and he can remember to call you baby or sweetie or queen or whatever he calls you, it will help you soften back up, because it will help you remember, I'm still his baby. I'm still his sweetie. I'm still his queen. We're just having a little argument right now. We're just having a little disagreement, just a little miscommunication going on. But I'm still his sweetie. He still loves me. We're not enemies. It will definitely help you soften right back up. Okay, so yes, you want to communicate that with him. The second thing that he can do to help, if you communicate this with him, is by holding your hands or holding your arms. Because when we get mad, oftentimes you get a lot of this action. You get a whole bunch of this. You know what I mean? All of that extra stuff, right? Or like you get this. And neither one of those are feminine, by the way, by a long shot. Okay? So if he can hold your hands or your arms, I don't mean like squeeze you and grabbing you, like harming you, but I mean just holding you, it does two things. It puts you in a safe position. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel secure because he's literally holding you. Like he's holding you, right? And secondly, it puts you in a submissive position because he's holding you. You know what I mean? And it puts you in a position to where you're more open to listening to what he is saying and receiving his message, okay? But again, if you're like this, your body posture is already saying that you don't want to hear what he's saying. If you're doing like this, it's just saying you're combative, you're ready to fight. So yes, ladies, that is the second thing. Communicate this with him. And if you let him know that this is something that you're doing, you're putting forth an effort to be more in your feminine, and let him know that a certified professional coach that specializes in relationships and femininity said that this would help if he could remember to call you by your little sweet, cute nickname during these disagreements, or hold your arms or hold your hands. Maybe not through the entire conversation, but just long enough to get you to soften up and calm down a little bit, okay? These things will absolutely help. The third thing you need to do, ladies, is you need to practice expressing how you feel. Now, you have some guys out there that are just kind of weird, that talk trash about women that say, I feel this or I feel like that. But yeah, women communicate and express things differently than men. So if you want a man that wants a woman that communicates like a woman, then you need to, yes, absolutely express how you feel. The issue is oftentimes when we express how we feel, we don't say I feel like this or I feel like that. We say I don't like that you do this, or it upsets me that you don't do that, and you do this and I don't like it. Or, you know, you're more so saying what he's doing that you don't like. You're not talking about how you feel. So you have to express that. Femininity deals with feelings, exploring your emotions. Your emotions let you know what your met and unmet needs are. It lets you know whether or not you are at peace or not, okay? So yes, you need to express your feelings. And so let me give you a few examples of how that would sound. I feel helpless because I can tell that something is bothering you, but you're just not letting me in. And I want to be able to help. I want to be able to be there for you. That sounds a lot better than, you don't ever talk to me, you don't ever communicate with me. Okay? Another example. I'm scared. Our financial situation right now really makes me nervous, and I don't want to burden you or put more pressure on you, but I just don't know what to do. That sounds a lot better than, what you gonna do about these bills? We behind on the rent. I mean, or one that's very common. I'm feeling insecure right now. And I know that's not something that is your responsibility, but it hurts me that you're not being considerate of my feelings. I think that it could help a lot if you could just work with me on this. That sounds a lot better than, I don't like that you keep liking all these women pictures. So yes, express your feelings, ladies, but make sure you're doing it the correct way. Express how you feel and be honest about that instead of communicating with him whatever he is or is not doing. Okay, that puts him in a position to problem solve, because most mature men want their woman to feel secure, and most of them take pride in being able to take stress and pressure off of their woman. So again, express how you feel, allow him to come up with a solution, allow him to be a problem solver instead of you telling him what you think he should or shouldn't do, or what he's doing that's making you so upset, like, you're not doing this and I don't like that you. That's kind of telling him what to do in a sense, and that's not something that you want to do. You never want to give a man ultimatums or anything like that. Just express how you feel. Number 4, ladies, if you're standing up during your disagreement, you need to take a step back and inhale, exhale, breathe. If you're sitting down, you need to lean back, inhale, exhale. Okay? Reason for this, there's a couple of reasons. Reason 1 is because oftentimes when you are having a disagreement, if you're feeling attacked, you lean forward. Like, you know, if you're standing up and you start taking steps towards somebody, that says, okay, they're ready to fight. Okay? You know, if you're sitting down and you might hear something you don't like, you lean forward, like, you know, you lean forward. All of that is very aggressive and is very masculine, okay? It's being assertive, you know? When you step back or you lean back, you're doing a couple things. Number 1 is like saying that you surrender. And surrendering is a feminine trait. That is not saying that everything he's saying is right and everything you're saying is wrong. That's saying, I don't want to argue. That's saying, I don't want to fight. You know what I mean? So that's surrendering. Also, what it does is it gives you space. Feminine women need space. When you are all tied up on somebody, especially in an uncomfortable situation, you are not able to relax. It just makes you feel more frustrated, and it makes you feel like you're kind of in bondage. It makes you feel stuck. It makes you feel like you can't breathe. So you need your space, okay? So it's taking a couple of steps back or just leaning back, it gives you your space, okay? Now, most men are going to be kind of confused by this because they're not used to a woman surrendering during a conversation, right? Like, it's one thing to like lean back and like just completely ignore the situation, like you don't hear him, but to lean back or to step back but still give him your whole undivided attention, that is going to confuse most men, and that will make him come to you. It'll make him step to you or move forward to you in order to try to get you to understand them better, in order to try to reach you, okay? And that's what you want. You don't want to be, you know, walking up on him and leaning into him. You would much rather him come to you in a more calm energy once he sees that you're in a calm energy. And also taking a step back or just leaning back gives you the opportunity to really just see your man and really just see him. And remind you that this is still the man that you love. This is still the man that you are committed to and that you're devoted to. Again, you're just having a disagreement right now, you know, but if you're all up in his face, you see an enemy. If you take a step back and you look at him, you remember, yeah, that's my man. He's a little upset right now, but that's my man. You know, it allows you to really see. So you need space. You need to inhale, exhale. You need to absolutely breathe. Breathe, lady. If you're holding your breath and you're letting all this anger build up inside of you and you're being all assertive and you're leaning forward, yeah, that is definitely masculine. Lean back, breathe, look at him. Now, don't look at him like this. You know, but you know. But just acknowledge that this is still the man that you love. So yes, lean back. Step back, get your space, surrender. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to fight with you. I'm surrendering. I'm stepping back, you know. And so that will let him know. Your body language, your energy, all of that will let him know that you're not trying to argue. He doesn't need to yell or raise his voice. He doesn't need to use cruel words. He doesn't need to try to attack you or one-up you with the insults. You're surrendering. You're stepping back. You're leaning back, okay? And he will be able to try to reach you with more of a gentleman-like approach from that point. But if you're coming at him with that masculine energy, he's usually going to come back at you with it. So lean back, inhale, exhale, and look. And the fifth one, ladies, I need you to hear me and hear me good when I say this. When it comes to feelings and expressing yourself, that is where the femininity dominates. The feminine dominates over the masculine in this area. Not only that, but studies have shown that women, females, are more capable of verbally communicating and expressing their feelings than males are. I actually touched on this in another video. I'll link it somewhere so you can watch it if you want to. But that means that all around, when it comes to expressing your feelings, verbalizing, the feminine dominates, okay? The reason why I say this is because you need to listen. You have to listen when a man is trying to communicate how he feels, because usually they do not verbalize it as well. Many of us have issues expressing it as, you know, as women. So imagine a man trying to express, you know, or verbalize his feelings, you know, while still trying to feel manly and still trying to feel masculine. You know, imagine him trying to find the right words, okay? And so the reason why I say you have to listen is because it usually does not sound like he's trying to express his feelings. Usually a man expressing his feelings sounds like ultimatums. Sometimes it can sound like an attack. Sometimes he's saying, you know, I'm not going to tolerate this. I don't like that you do this. You know, you always doing this. And so you might say, well, you know, that's not fair. If we got to learn how to express, they should too. But you got to ask yourself, do you want a feminine man or do you want a masculine man? Okay? You can't expect for a man that's masculine and a beast out there in the streets and then come home to you and then soften up into a little peacock. even though most pretty peacocks are males, but you know what I mean, okay? So it's like you have to listen to what he's saying to try to really understand what he is trying to tell you. Usually they're trying to tell you their feelings are hurt. They feel insecure about something you did. Something you did has given them some doubts, but they love you and they want to try to work it out. But they don't know if they're going to be able to trust you. But they want to trust you and they need you to work with them. They need to see that you can be loyal. They don't feel respected. They don't feel needed. They don't feel appreciated. They're usually not going to express their feelings this way. So you have to listen. You have to really hear what he is saying. Okay? I'm telling you, the feminine dominates in this area, ladies. This is your time to shine. This is your time to step up and be the mature one. Because if it's an area in which the masculine dominates, it's an area in which something that men are usually better at than women, you're going to expect him to step up and be the mature one. You're going to expect him to show up and show out, right? This is your time to show off. This is your time to shine and show your feminine value, ladies. And in order to listen, ladies, you need to be able to be silent. Because if you're talking and he's talking and he's talking and you're talking, who is listening? No one's listening. So you have to listen. You need to hear what he's saying. This will help you to be understanding. It can help you to be understanding of not only how he's feeling, but it will also help you to understand whether or not you're being completely disrespected or not. Okay? So it's good to listen, but you're not going to know either or if you're running your mouth. Okay, so you have to listen and understand, ladies, that there is a difference in knowing the power of your silence and just being completely dismissive. Okay, you don't want to be dismissive, meaning you're listening to him and you're just like, okay, all right, whatever, okay. You know, that is being dismissive. Knowing the power of your silence is you're not saying anything, but you're taking it all in. You're really trying to understand, and you are allowing what you are hearing to process before you respond, because you do need to respond eventually. You do need to make a response, but it doesn't need to be at that exact moment. Sometimes your response might not even be verbal. Your response could be just a change in something that you do. You know, your response could be an action. Okay, so but make sure you're listening and understanding the power of your silence. And if it's something that you're understanding, again, if you're understanding that he's being disrespectful to you, or if he's mistreating you or attacking you on purpose, then you act accordingly. That's a whole nother video. But you're not going to pick up on any of that if you're running your mouth. You have to be able to listen. Okay, so you can listen, nod your head. Okay, understand. Okay. All right, that is listening. So again, ladies, do not sit here and say, oh, this ain't gonna work if you've never done these 5 things. Do all 5 of these things. Identify your triggers. Communicate with him that this is something that you're even trying to do, that you're trying to put forth an effort in being more feminine. Express how you feel instead of telling him what he is or is not doing wrong. Lean back or step back and inhale, exhale, breathe. And listen to understand what he is saying, knowing that you are more capable of verbalizing your emotions, more than likely, than he is. He's probably trying to stay as masculine as he possibly can, so he's not going to say, I feel, okay? And that's okay. That's your job, all right? So, hopefully this helps, ladies. Peace and much love.